Welcome back for another segment of The Dorm Life with Dr. G. This week's tip is how to create your first aid kit, and everyone should have one. You do not want to have to run to the drugstore as you're bleeding, throwing up, or sick with a fever. Not only that, but if you're in a dorm, it's generally not easy to get to a drugstore, especially at night, which is when many people realize that they need something. So being prepared for these common maladies and having it on hand is the best policy. No kit can cover everything, but there are several common injuries and illnesses that you want to be prepared for. I suggest that you include the following, but this list is not exhaustive, and you can personalize it to what you usually use for pain relief, allergies, or your own medical needs. For example, if you're diabetic, have allergies or seizures, you may put other medications and items in your first aid kit specific to your needs. This can even be something that you discuss with your primary care provider as you go in for your physical and the vaccine paperwork that's usually required prior to entering college. Here are some of the key items to have on hand. I am using mostly the generic terms here as I do not want to promote any particular brand, but I will use the trade names of common ones just because you're likely more familiar with those names. This does not mean that I think that brand is the best, just for your information. You will want something for nausea, such as Dramamine, which is known as diphenhydramine, or Benadryl, which is diphenhydramine. Both can be used for nausea and allergies. Pepto-Bismol is useful for diarrhea or upset stomach. But as a side note, that pretty pink drink or pill can make your stools come out really black, so do not get alarmed by this, it will go away. Antihistamines such as Claritin, which is also known as Loratadine, or Zyrtec, known as Cetrizine, is important to have around for allergies. If you purchase it with a D, that has decongestant action, which is helpful if you have a cold. Note this can make you feel hyper, give you palpitations, or cause sleeplessness in some individuals, so use initially with caution, or take it home before you go to college to know exactly how you'll respond. In addition, for colds, have some guaifenesin, which is also known as Mucinex, around for that congestion. There are different versions of Mucinex also. The one with the DM is for helping to tame your cough so you can sleep. The DM stands for dextromethorphan. It does make you drowsy though, so do not take before class. The one with the D has a decongestant in it, and the same note applies as to the Claritin or Zyrtec D, with the potential for palpitations. Also, important items to ensure you have are acetaminophen and or ibuprofen for fever, headaches, muscle pain. Now, which one is best if you had to choose? Well, that depends on you and the symptoms that you're treating. Ibuprofen, also known as Motrin or Advil, lasts a little longer, is stronger for pain, but is equal to acetaminophen for fever. However, it upsets tummies, so use accordingly if you have a sensitive stomach. Acetaminophen, which is known as Tylenol or paracetamol, is much easier on your tummy, but a little less effective in general for muscle pain and headaches. Curcumin is something to consider as an anti-inflammatory and an alternative to NSAIDs, such as Motrin, or Tylenol for those muscle aches and headaches. But note, it does not bring down a fever like the other two do. However, it's very easy on your stomach. Everyone is unique, so know what works best for you. Okay, those are the key medications to have available. Now, what about items for cuts and other wounds, muscle sprains and strains, twisted ankles, irritated eyes, and fevers? You will need items such as non-latex gloves, and more than one set, scissors, tweezers, gauze bandages, band-aids, first aid tape, some ice packs and hot packs. In addition, you'll need ACE bandages for ankle sprains, and some Polysporin or triple antibiotic ointment for wounds. Saline eye drops for irritated eyes, and to clean your wounds, you'll need either rubbing alcohol or hydrogen peroxide. And of course, a thermometer. Make sure you know how to read it, especially if it is not digital. These medications can be purchased separately and put in labeled bags, or you can get them in an already packaged first aid kit, kind of like my Dorm Doc here. This kit does not include everything that we've discussed above, but they did include something for heat exhaustion and hangovers. Now that's a pharmacist who is thinking about her clients. Now you know what you need, so always be prepared. Next week I will be back to discuss how to avoid that freshman 15. See you next week. Until then, remember, a healthy student is a successful student.